Did you know it's possible to turn just $5,000 into $100,000? It may seem impossible, but I did it, and in today's video, I'm going to tell you exactly how this transformation happened. If you're tired of feeling like your money never grows, or that investments are only for people who already have a lot, then you're in the right place. Believe me, I've been exactly where you are now. My journey started with a simple decision: to bet on the unknown, face my fears, and risk everything I had in search of something more. I only had $5,000, and that amount seemed way too small. I was afraid of losing it all, but at the same time, I knew that if I didn't try, I would never know what was possible. This video is for you if you feel that your financial life could be different but don't know where to start. I'm not a financial expert, nor do I have a magic formula, but what I did can be replicated by anyone. Today, I'm going to share with you the 5 steps that took me from $5,000 to $100,000 and how you can follow this journey too. Stick with me until the end, because I promise this content can be the turning point in your financial life. Now, I want you to stop for a moment and ask yourself, how many times have you thought about investing, but the fear of losing money paralyzed you? Or maybe you even tried, but never got the results you expected? I completely understand how that feels. When you have little money, the pressure of making the wrong decision feels even greater. The voices around you say, "You won't make it. This isn't for people like you." I heard all of that, and it was exactly that moment that became my turning point. I was at a point in my life where I could no longer just wait for a solution to fall from the sky. I felt that if I didn't start, I would not only lose money, but I would also lose the opportunity to transform my financial life. When you have little, every mistake feels fatal. I know, because I've been there. $5,000 may seem like a small amount, but it's enough to start if you know how to use it wisely. That's when I started studying, researching, and educating myself. But more than that, it was my courage to take the first step that made all the difference. Many people give up before they start simply because they're afraid to take risks. I went beyond that fear. So, if you're feeling insecure or think you can't do more with the little you have, I want you to know that I felt that too. But deep down, I knew that the only real mistake would be not trying. Now that you understand the challenge of starting with little, I'm going to show you the path to overcome that barrier. Today, I'm going to share with you the 5 steps that helped me transform $5,000 into $100,000, and you can follow that path too. First, I'll talk about how to make the decision to act, even when fear feels unbearable. Then, I'll show you how to choose the right investments for someone starting with a small amount, and how to manage the fear of losing in the process. I'll also explain the power of compound interest, which was one of the key factors in this transformation. Plus, I'll tell you how to deal with the crises of confidence that arise along the journey. And finally, I'll show you how to find opportunities where few are looking. These 5 steps were crucial to my success, and I want you to see how you can apply each of them to change your financial life once and for all. The first step to turning $5,000 into $100,000 had nothing to do with the numbers. It had to do with a mental decision. I knew that if I kept living on autopilot, I would never change my financial reality. The fear of losing was immense, but I knew that the biggest risk would be doing nothing. I remember that moment like it was yesterday. I had my $5,000 in the bank, and the only thing I knew was that if I didn't take a chance on something now, that $5,000 would just be a reminder of what could have been. I started studying, researching, and that's when I realized something fundamental. You'll never be 100% ready, but you need to act anyway. The decision to start is the key. It doesn't matter if the amount seems small or if the fear is big. What matters is taking that first step. That first step was like a portal to the unknown. I knew I wasn't totally sure of what I was doing, but the only way to learn was to act. And here's the first lesson I want you to take. Don't wait for the ideal moment to arrive. If you wait for the perfect scenario, time will pass, and you'll regret not starting earlier. Deep down, transformation begins the moment you decide to stop waiting and start doing. After making the decision to act, the second big question was, which investment to choose? I had $5,000, which wasn't exactly a fortune, so the choice of where to put that money had to be careful. The fear of making a mistake made me question whether I was making the right choice, but the most important thing was not to let that fear paralyze me. I started by researching different options: stocks, real estate funds, government bonds, and even alternative investment. The doubt was big, and the temptation to follow shallow advice was everywhere. But one thing became clear: I needed something that was suitable for my risk profile. It didn't make sense to go after an investment offering quick returns with absurd risks. For me, the security of starting slow was crucial. That's when I found an investment opportunity in real estate funds. I already knew that, over time, the real estate market in Brazil had shown stable growth, and the idea of investing in something that would generate passive income really appealed to me. Real estate funds offer good returns with controllable risks, which gave me the perfect balance for the moment I was in. The key here for me was understanding that investing isn't about betting everything on something risky. It's about finding the right combination of safety and return. It wasn't the most glamorous or exciting option, but it was the smartest one for someone starting with a small amount. Also, as a beginner, financial education was my biggest asset. I studied the companies, understood the market, and looked for what aligned best with my profile. So, if you're starting with a small amount and wondering which path to follow, my advice is, don't be seduced by promises of big, fast returns. Choose an investment that fits within your reality and, at the same time, has a solid history of results. And most importantly, constantly educate yourself about what you're doing. Because, in the end, it's the knowledge that will make the difference. After choosing the right investment, I quickly came across the concept that really changed my perception of how money can grow: the power of compound interest. I had heard of it before, but I never imagined how this power could transform the $5,000 I had into something much bigger. Simply put, compound interest is the effect of earning interest on the interest you've already earned. It sounds complicated, but it's one of the most powerful forces in the investment world. When you start investing, the money you put there starts generating returns. The next month, in addition to earning interest on the amount you invested, you also start earning interest on the previous month's interest. And this effect multiplies over time, creating exponential growth. I realized that if I had left my money in the bank account, it would never have this multiplying effect. Every month, the money would remain still, without generating a single extra penny. But by investing, even with a small initial amount, the growth was something I couldn't have predicted. Over time, the $5,000 began to generate more, and before I knew it, I was already reaping the benefits of a strategy built over time. Here's the main lesson I want to share with you. Don't underestimate the impact of starting early. Even if you start with little, compound interest can transform your financial reality, but you need to be patient. This multiplying power is one of the reasons you should start now, no matter what amount you're beginning with. I realized that the earlier you start, the quicker compound interest starts working in your favor. It was this consistency and reinvestment of gains that allowed me to see my capital grow. For example, after 1 year of investing, I wasn't working with the original $5,000 anymore, but with a considerably larger amount. This domino effect is what really makes the difference in the long run. So, even if you have little, or if the beginning seems difficult, remember the power of compound interest. The magic happens when you are consistent and don't give up halfway. With compound interest working in my favor and my investments doing well, I soon realized that the journey to wealth is not a linear path. And that was a big lesson. Financial success is not a straight line. At some point, you will face unexpected challenges, crises of confidence, and even the fear that what you've done might not have been enough. And I lived this firsthand. I clearly remember a time when the market started to fall. My investments were in real estate funds and stocks, and the economic news was bad. Fear took over me. Had I made the right choice? What if I lost everything? That feeling of insecurity was tough to deal with, but it was in that moment that I realized something fundamental. Crises are part of the process. I realized it wouldn't always be magic. There would be ups and downs, and my confidence would be tested. It was at that moment that I decided to adopt a different mindset. It's not about what is happening in the market right now, but about what you're building in the long term. I knew that if I trusted my plan and stayed focused, the results would become visible later. One of the most important things was not to panic. Many people, when the market starts to fall, sell their stocks or withdraw their money from real estate funds. They do this out of fear of losing more. But what I learned was that fear must be managed, not blindly followed. Drops are temporary, and the market always recovers. The secret is to stay calm, maintain a long-term vision, and not let fear paralyze your action. That's how I got through the crisis of confidence. And I can assure you that when the market recovered, my investments grew even more. The secret was not giving up halfway. The real strength of an investor lies in their patience and ability to keep moving forward, even when everything seems to be falling apart. So, when you find yourself in a moment of crisis or uncertainty, remember, this is part of the process. What really matters is what you do now to ensure a more prosperous future. The last step that truly made all the difference was something no one taught me in books or courses. I learned to see opportunities where most people see nothing. And believe me, this was what made the biggest difference in my journey of turning $5,000 into $100,000. When you start investing and see the first results, one thing is certain: the market will always have the fads and the trends of the moment. People will talk about Bitcoin, trendy stocks, or the latest fund promising absurd returns. It's tempting to follow the wave and put your money into what everyone is talking about. But it was at that moment that I stopped and asked a simple question: what if I looked beyond the obvious? What else is out there in the market, beyond the passing trends? That's when I realized the best investments aren't where everyone is looking. They are in the gaps, in the hidden opportunities that most people ignore. For example, while many were investing in highly volatile stocks or cryptocurrency, I began to analyze less glamorous sectors that, over time, showed more consistent and safer growth. Investing in real estate outside the major urban centers, for example, was an opportunity one saw. While most people focused on the real estate market in capitals, I saw that smaller cities were growing faster than expected. The appreciation was slower at first, but over time, I saw my money being multiplied steadily. I found what was off the radar of most people. Another example was with real estate funds. While many were focusing only on big shopping malls and commercial properties in upscale areas, I realized that logistics funds and warehouses were gaining strength. These properties, often located in the outskirts, had a much higher return potential and, at the same time, were more stable than high-risk properties. Here's the crucial point: don't be afraid to invest outside your comfort zone. Big opportunities don't show up in obvious places. The true investor sees where most others don't, and it's this sharp and creative vision that makes all the difference. Don't follow the crowd. If you really want to stand out, look for what's being neglected but has growth potential. So, my message to you is simple: don't get stuck in what everyone else is doing. The greatest opportunities are often where few are looking. Open your eyes and mind to alternatives. The best investment opportunities are often in the most overlooked areas. And then, after all the hard work, patience, and strategies applied, the moment that seemed like a dream became a reality. I remember exactly the day I looked at my computer screen and saw my investment balance reach $100,000. It was a mix of joy, relief, and a sense of achievement I'll never forget. In that moment, I realized that it wasn't just about the money. Of course, the numbers were impressive. Seeing my wealth grow from $5,000 to $100,000 was proof that my choices had paid off. But what really changed was how I started to see my financial life. I was no longer someone at the mercy of circumstances. For the first time, I felt like I was in control. What might surprise you is that this milestone didn't happen by luck or by a big stroke of fortune in the market. It was the result of small, consistent actions, repeated over time. It wasn't one miraculous investment or a bold move that got me here. It was the patience of letting compound interest work, the discipline of reinvesting, and the courage to not give up during difficult times. When I reached $100,000, I realized that the transformation was much more than financial. It was also mental. I had learned to trust the process, to stay focused on the long term, and to prioritize investing as a fundamental pillar in my life. More importantly, I realized that if I could turn $5,000 into $100,000, I could go much further. This was just the beginning. My message to you is, don't underestimate the power of small decisions. Often, we're so focused on the end result that we forget it's built with consistency, one step at a time. $100,000 was an incredible milestone for me, but what really matters is that the path that led me there can be followed by anyone, including you. Now that I've shared a bit of my journey and the decisions that led me to transform $5,000 into $100,000, I want to leave you with some practical tips that can make all the difference in your journey to financial freedom. Start as soon as possible. Don't wait for the perfect moment to start investing. When I began, my initial amount was small, but what really made a difference was the decision to act immediately. Time is one of an investor's greatest allies. If you wait, compound interest will work against you, as time is the biggest factor in multiplying your wealth. The sooner you start, the greater your potential for growth. Be disciplined and consistent. Investing is like planting a tree. You won't see the results overnight, but with consistency and patience, you'll reap the rewards in the future. Make it a habit. Reinvest your profits, add more when possible, and never stray from your plan. Discipline is key to building a solid foundation. Understand that risk is part of the process. I know the idea of losing money can be terrifying, but all investments come with risks. The secret is to understand these risks and accept them. Investing is not a game of luck, but a process of informed choices. When you educate yourself, you learn to identify risks and opportunities more accurately. At the same time, it's essential to keep a diversified portfolio to protect your money during times of instability. Learn from your mistakes. Not everything will be perfect. In my journey, I made mistakes, made impulsive decisions, and lost money on some trades. But what really matters is what you do with those mistakes. Every mistake is a valuable lesson that, if absorbed well, will bring you closer to success. Don't fear making mistakes, but learn from them and adjust your course. Never stop learning. The financial market is constantly evolving. What worked today may not be the best option tomorrow. That's why it's crucial to invest in financial education continually. Read books, watch videos, take courses, talk to other investors. The more you learn, the better prepared you'll be to make the right decisions in the future. Now, I want you to remember something very important. Your financial success isn't just in the investment, but in your mindset. It was my internal transformation that allowed me to see opportunities where others saw nothing, that gave me the courage to face challenges, and that made me believe in the process, even when things were difficult. I believe you have the power to transform your financial life just like I did mine. It all starts with the decision to act. It doesn't matter if you're starting with $5,000 or $500. What matters is that you make the choice to not wait any longer and to start now. Always remember, there is no magic secret to getting rich overnight. The real secret lies in starting with consistency, learning continuously, and above all, having patience. You've already taken the first step by watching this video. Now, move forward, do your part, and watch how, little by little, your financial future can be transformed. If you're ready to take the next step, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it with someone who also needs to hear this message. Together, let's grow and achieve financial freedom.